I always loved Super Mario 64. I still do. Who doesn't? It's a classic. A pioneer of 3D gaming as we know it. It was the only game I ever bothered to speedrun, save the first Halo. And after a good amount of practicing, I managed to score pretty nicely on the global leaderboard in 2 different categories. As much as I enjoyed the mechanics, there's another side to it that I love even more. The mystery. Much of my childhood in the 90s was built around the Al Israel 2401 legend. And recently, with the likes of the infamous Iceberg and the content creators like Greenio, the game has gained its own culture of urban legend with tales of the Wario apparition, secret beta builds, and a hidden 4th floor of Peach's castle. I'm not going to type into my browser some tall tale about how I've seen Wario's giant head chasing me through the basement of the castle or anything like that. I'm going to share a bland, authentic story, or rather that of my friends. I try to retain anonymity. We'll call her Kira. She's very similar. Okay. To retain anonymity, we'll call her Kira, as she's very similar to a character from a sci-fi spin-off with the same namesake. We've been close friends since middle school. This is a long time considering we're both in our 30s now. I'd be lying if I said I never dreamed about a more intimate relationship, but a lack of mutual attraction ensured we never got any closer. Not that I minded it, of course. She was amazing and I adored her company. We spent great amounts of time together. Usually when we weren't busy with something else, we'd be hanging out. Ever since I'd known her, she loved Nintendo games. The only rival party that ever captured her attention was Konami and their Silent Hill series. But when the Switch console released, it was all she could ever talk about. She didn't buy one for herself when it came to stores. At the time, she couldn't afford it. Especially not with the horrendous cost of Nintendo titles. The console and a comfortable game library could easily hit close to $1,000 if you weren't careful. A year or two went by, and she was still unable to ever grab one. The inability of retailers to keep them in stock didn't help either. At that time, I was a little better off financially. I wasn't in the drop hundreds of dollars on your friend league, but I managed to put a bit away every paycheck. Content with my home setup, I didn't get one for myself because there were no Switch titles I was interested in. Before her birthday, though, I got one for her. Keep in mind, these were the first models, the B1 SKUs. I knew she had no desire to play any of the games online, so I jailbroke her Switch, installing an early version of Atmosphere, which allowed game files to be dropped onto the console and installed all while avoiding the eShop. It was a cost-effective gift, and she loved it. The day I gave it to her, Keep in mind, these were the first models, the V1 SKUs. I knew she had no desire to play any games online, so I jailbroke her Switch, installing an early version of Atmosphere, which allowed game files to be dropped onto the console and installed all while avoiding the eShop. It was a cost-effective gift, and she loved it. The day I gave it to her, we found dumps of the Bayonetta 1 and 2 ports and Breath of the Wild. After installing them, we spent the next 8 hours playing. The energy she had for her new console was astounding. It really was. Every now and then, she'd send me updates of what she had accomplished, and when I came over to hang out, we'd add more pirated titles to her game library. Fast forward a while, and the news of Super Mario 3D All-Stars. She's ecstatic, of course. And to an extent, I am too. I used an emulator at home to play Super Mario 64, but Kira wasn't techy enough for that, so it excited me that she'd be able to play it natively on her console. The day I came over with my laptop already loaded with an NSP file of 3D All-Stars, she was so hyped. She bought a few packs of drinks for us to enjoy, and she cracked one as she reminisced about her experience with Super Mario 64. Just like me, she played it sometime back in the 90s, but unlike me, she hadn't relived any of it for over 2 decades and was super excited to start a new save up. I know what you're thinking. Oh, the pirated version you got was tampered with. It's gonna be some cliche where they start up the game and the sound is distorted and Mario is going to have soulless eyes or something like that. To be honest, I wish that's what the story was about. But no, the game was fine. The 3D All-Stars menu went through smoothly, and immediately we hopped into Super Mario 64. Kira had shelled out a little for a Pro Controller and was eagerly clicking through and starting a new save file. After the introduction sequence, she was controlling Mario. Everything was great. At least, it was until we got inside the castle. To me, the lobby of Peach's castle was normal. Colors and textures were all right. But Kira was off-put. She mumbled something about it being strange and took a sip of her drink. I asked for clarification. She told me that she remembered the walls being a dark purple and decorated with stars as if mirroring space, instead of the cartoonish clouds in blue brick. I was a little upset, if I'm being honest. I played the game enough to know exactly what the lobby looked like, and her recollection was nowhere close. Politely, I told her that this is what the castle was supposed to look like, and she shrugged as if agreeing to disagree. No, it nagged at the back of my mind. We continued to play, hopping into Bob-omb Battlefield. She nabbed the first star by throwing the king up in the air 3 times. We take turns after a death or star, so I played next, quickly grabbing the one behind Chain Chomp's gate. We take turns after a death or star, so I played next, quickly grabbing the one behind Chain Chomp's gate. Right after, Kira was incessant. I hand her the controller. She left the first level's room and into the hallway. I knew she wasn't going to Big Boo's haunt because it hadn't been unlocked yet. She spun around in the hallway for a bit, right above the stairs to the basement. I decided to ask what she was doing. She said something along the lines of, "Where's Scal?" I didn't know what she was talking about and asked her for clarification. She laughed again, asking me where Scal was. Reacting to my obvious confusion, she grabbed her phone, searching the name in an effort to try to show off what she was talking about. After a minute or two, she seemed a little frustrated. So again, I asked her what Scal was. Kira then went on to explain something very bizarre. Scal, according to her, was a toad. Not like the normal ones present in the rooms before Bob-omb Battlefield and Hazy Maze Cave, but unique. As she claimed, it would roam, spawning all around the castle, but no matter what, it always appeared in the hallway after the second star. I tried to cut her off, explaining that she must be thinking of another game, but she was incessant. The toad looked different to others. It was almost twice the height, far taller than Mario. As if to prove the authenticity of her memory, she told me how annoying of an entity Scal was, and how often around the castle she'd hear his pitter-patter of footsteps before it came up to Mario and locked him in a lengthy dialogue. Her memory of the game was a few decades old, and so I again iterated that Scal was certainly not present in the game. She didn't accept it though. She went on to tell me how she remembered its introductory paragraph. It told Mario that he was never alone because Scal was always right behind him, wherever he went. Kira had another drink. I didn't know what to say, so I followed suit. I felt like an ass, constantly iterating that her memories were wrong. But I knew Scal was never in the game. The concept of a gigantic toad freely running around the castle actually unsettled me a bit. She instructed me to play, and so I did, as she tapped on her phone. I returned to Bob-omb Battlefield and cleared the foot race with Koopa, the Quick Star, and the red coins. As I was shooting to the island in the sky, she let out a groan. Apparently, she couldn't find anything to corroborate the giant toad named Scal. I suggested again that it was a different game she was thinking of, but she complained that if I was right, searching Scal would give her results for whatever game he was from. The air had gotten a little awkward as we finished off Bob-omb Battlefield. Stars saved Mario wings to the sky, and the 100 coins. Giving Kira back the controller, I asked her what she wanted to do. She said she'd visit her favorite level. I smiled as she unlocked the door to Cool Mountain. I didn't like the stars all that much, but the snowy aesthetic was lovely. Instead of jumping into the painting, though, she was looking up in the top corners of the room. She whispered under her breath about this being a joke, and I asked her what was wrong. She told me that she was looking for the entrance to the ice cave. After asking her if she was talking about the mountain, she said no, arguing that there was a hidden entrance along the roof of the wall. Immediately, I thought she was thinking of the hidden aquarium, but she insisted that though it was like that, the map was completely different. Of course, there was no entrance. Not a hint at there ever being one. She grew visibly upset, only able to tell me that the map had some sort of alliteration in its name. I couldn't do anything with that information, considering the map didn't even exist as far as I knew. Frustrated with how the game didn't seem to line up with her childhood memories, Kira left the room, leaving me to play. I was about to hop into Cool Mountain, but decided to just turn the game off. I remember being really unnerved and off-put, and instead decided to put on Bayonetta 2 so we could finish off the pack and relax. So we could finish off the 6-pack and relax. At this point, you might be wondering why I'm writing this. This event happened many months ago, and to most, it could easily be shrugged off as someone misremembering an old game. But just recently, I've discovered the MIPS whole wiki, and notably, the personalization myth surrounding Super Mario 64. I'm sure you've heard the phrase, every copy is personalized, plastered around the internet somewhere. Its origin comes from a rumor that Nintendo implemented some form of AI into Super Mario 64 that could alter the game and its environment based on the cognitive behavior of the player. I know, it's ridiculous, but ever since I read about it, I have this nagging feeling in my head. Kira insists that her memories of the game are absolute, and swears up and down the things she remembered to me were present when she played as a girl. Now, it's entirely possible that she's wrong, or maybe played some off-brand knockoff of the popular title way back in the day. But the idea of copy-specific personalization keeps bugging me, which is why I wrote this post. Does anyone remember something like Kira described? A tall, mobile toad named Scal? The lobby of Peach's castle filled with stars? Or the hidden level residing in Cool Mountain's room? It seemed reminiscent of a cave? If you've experienced this, or anything else that isn't present in the common version of Super Mario 64, I'd love to know about it. In the meantime, Kira's promised to do a full playthrough with me of the game, where she'll point out any and all differences that she remembers. With any luck, I'll update this post in a little while when I find out more. See you soon.
Hello everyone. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who watches all these videos, likes them,
It really does help. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you again next week.